Welcome in to our 5A state class preview, and right here with me, I've got Duran Miller, and he is a guy that we love talking ball with, and he's back again. We
Yeah,
we we spent a lot of time in the smaller schools. We're not going to spend as much time in the bigger schools because
there's not as many teams.
exactly. There's not as many teams. You've only got. In fact, if you take the number of playoff teams in 5A, add them to the number of playoff teams in 6A and 7A, 3A almost has as many teams
Right.
as all of them combined. So, anyway, we'll spend a little less time, but we're still going to go through it in depth, and we're looking forward to talking about 5A, which, in my opinion, when we talk about the class with probably the most depth, and I would say per capita. That's probably a better way to put it. Per capita, the best teams in high school football,
Well,
I think, lie in the 5A.
yeah, it's a very good conference, a very deep conference, and really competitive. There's three or four right there at the top, and then right after that, I mean, there's another. You could really say 10 to 15 teams that could end up being on a semifinal top Saturday
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we're going to go through it
or
real
Friday.
quick.
I keep I don't know, college in my mind or something.
We're going to get through it here and talk a little bit of 5A. And I'll tell you what, number one, we want to thank Warp Stream. Check Warp Stream out if you're looking to organize your recruiting. Check out the link in the bio there. We'll give you some more about it as we go, but Warp Stream is where you can handle your own information. It's kind of like social media for recruiting in so many ways, but lots of bells and whistles that you can take advantage of. Obviously, Toad Thumper Lures. I think I said it right that time. Toad Thumper Lures here. Appreciate those guys over there for jumping in and being a part. Go check them out on Facebook. Got to be, I mean, honestly, with what we're doing, there's got to be a lot of fishermen out there.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to
We're in the
think.
state of Arkansas.
Exactly. You got to think that fishing is a passion of some of the people that are watching. But
Yeah.
anyway,
It just depends on what part of the state you are. If it's lure or lure.
lure.
Yeah.
Anyway, appreciate you joining us here. We're going into 5A right now, and we're going to go ahead and release those rankings. We'll talk about it from 10 to 1 to begin with. And at number 10, we got Cody McNabb and the Morrilton Devil Dogs coming in at number 10. Morrilton loses a lot, but they always are. It doesn't matter. It seems like they're always around, in the playoff hunt, in the picture, always in the talk. And so number 10 is Morrilton. Number 9, we're going Harrison. Harrison brings back a decent crew.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Keelan left it well there at Harrison, and then you got Coach Pascal heading over there, Coach Van Pascal,
Yeah.
and he's been successful everywhere he's been.
He has left a lot. So, I mean, he stepped in a great situation.
He did.
I mean, he does rebuild places, but he also goes to places where he knows that he's got something to work with.
That's
and
right.
I think he definitely did that here.
Well, he's not dumb. He's
No,
not.
that's
He's
true.
not a dumb man. Maumelle comes in at number 8. That one is in the 5A Central. That 5A Central is brutal. Absolutely
It's kinda
brutal.
like the SEC West when Bielema was here.
And again, we talk per capita here.
Right.
Might be the toughest conference in the state. Now, can you match the 5A Central versus the 7A Central? No. But what I'm saying is, per the competition.
But they might still a winner, too.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
maybe so. 5A Central is probably the toughest conference in the state per capita. At number 7, we got the Jacksonville Titans coming in. We think they have a really good collection of talent. Again, you're talking about the 5A Central. In fact, well, I'll give something away here. I think in our 5A our poll, 5 teams are in the 5A Central in the top 10,
Yeah.
which also means that one of those teams is not going to make the playoffs.
That's true. And they're going to be a very good team.
Yeah, very good team that's not going to make the playoffs. We think Jacksonville's got the talent this year to make a jump. Mason Ball, the Kentucky commitment, I think he's going to make a jump. I think he's a threat for 2,000 yards this year. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But
Coach Swinton feels very confident that they've got a lot lot of more pieces that people won't be able to just key in on
Right.
them. So we'll see how
Exactly.
that works out.
Let's go to number 6, the Farmington Cardinals coming in at number 6. Coach Tommy Tice there in his third season there at Farmington. He's had great success there at Farmington last season, making the playoffs. I think second round last year. Year before he was in the finals there. So big time program up there in Farmington. Number 5, Valley View. I have said for a while Valley View might be the flagship program of Northeast Arkansas right now. Very good program. And right now, Coach Sean Cockrell does a great job there. Greenbrier coming in at number 4. Greenbrier is, again, another program that is um, what would you call them? I think they're a mainstay in the top 10. Um,
Solid.
there's a little bit more questions about them. I'll be honest with you,
Right.
but I think they're going to be fine. Number 3, Parkview. Now I have Parkview a little higher than a lot of other people do. Elijah Moody coming in to play quarterback at Parkview.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big deal.
I think a lot of people don't know about that.
He was very successful at Mills in his freshman season. I guess he got hurt last year. Didn't
Yeah.
hear a lot from him. I think he's got a bounce back year this year. Number 2, you got Robinson, and I know that a lot of people will say, "Whoa, hold on, we're the defending champs." That's right. You just get the unlucky year that Greenwood bumps down to 6 or from 6A to 5A. I'll be honest. I went back and forth on that one. I did. It's really hard, and I think if you put either one of those at number 1, you're okay. You're right. I mean, you could be right. They're just both phenomenal programs, phenomenal teams. But that's what we have in the top 10.
We'll talk more about each one of these teams as we go. Greenwood has a lot more coming back than I first thought until we interviewed them and I started really dissecting them. So, some good things for their. You remember their head coach's name? We talked to him. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but promoted from within has been there for I want to say 19 years.
Yeah.
Greenwood's going to be just fine. We know that.
Coach Gill.
Coach Gill, that's
there
right.
at Greenwood.
He has a lot of returning stat guys coming back. So they're poised. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start in the 5A Central. As we said, 5A Central, again, what we're calling the toughest conference in the state. And again, and the reason I can say that is because you got a team like Mills that picked at number 7. I mean,
right.
Mills has been successful majorly over the last several years, and they're going to have a hard time making the playoffs out of that conference. You feel for Valonia a little bit because they're stuck in that conference. A lot of times, Valonia gets shipped out to the West, and the West is, at least as of now, a much easier path to the playoffs, I believe, than what the Central is. So Valonia comes in, they're picked at the bottom of that conference. Well, you look at that top 6 of that conference there. I mean, any of those can probably go into the playoffs there, but I just felt like, number 1, obviously you got the defending champs, Robinson. Robinson is a team. They're not just having success over the last year.
Right.
They've been having success for several years. State championships, I need to look that up, but several state championships over the last few years. I know they won one in 4A in 21, if I'm not mistaken. They've got 4 state championships, and 3 of those have been won since 2019. They won the 4A 2 times, and then last year, for what most of the year felt like the Robinson Invitational in so many ways. It didn't finish that way.
No, it was close.
They had some hard times in the playoffs. They had some rough games, but they were able to overcome and win those games and ended up winning the state championship. But and you got to think that they're right there at the top for this year's state championship.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've got Robinson at number 1. They bring their quarterback back, which I think is always huge. Reese Simpson threw for 23, almost 2,400 yards last year, 32 touchdowns. They do lose, some big time playmakers. Kevin Williams, another guy they had, running back, and a defensive stud. His name escapes me at the moment. He's going to be gone, but they bring back Bryson Cunningham, who got 400 yards on the ground last year in a backup top row. Got 3 touchdowns. They also bring back a couple good receivers for Simpson to throw to, and Hakeem Frampton, 724 yards last year, 9 touchdowns. And a guy that I don't think enough people are talking about is, and I think he's going to have a huge year, is Braylon Brown. He's a Division One guy. He's getting a lot of offers, a lot of looks. He had 274 last year and 1 touchdown as a youngster. He's going to be one of the leaders this year. I think he's going to make some big time strides. Like I said, he possibly has SEC top talent. I mean, he's really good. And then they've got some defensive guys like Jaden Todd coming back, bringing some production in the tackle slot. So I definitely have Robson at 1. Parkview, I think, is right there on their heels. I love them. Whoa, cheers. Getting a little weird there. I think bringing in Elijah Moody, and their coach, his dad was the coach at Mills, and now
he's the OC now.
He's offense coordinator. I think that's a huge thing. I think Parkview and them, that's going to come down to the wire. I think that's going to be a great matchup. Sadiq Goji is a big time runner for them. Had over 800 yards last year. He's back, so I think that's going to help them a lot. They'll be able to kind of lean on him as a bell cow. They also have. They're just loaded every year. I think Moody's really going to have a bounce back year, like you said, and Parkview's looking good. Boating's always going to have a great defensive scheme ready. They've got athletes galore. And Jacksonville, we were really high on them. We were able to interview them as well, and just love what Swinton said, and just talking to their players. I think he brought about 10 guys. We talked to about 4 or 5 of them. They've got some absolute talent for sure. Anthony Ross Jr. is a guy that don't get a lot of pub. He's a big time defender for them. Everybody knows about Mason Ball, but they feel really good about a lot of their other guys in the skill spots on offense. They're going to be able to throw the ball more this year. I like Jacksonville as my 3 spot ahead of Maumelle. I got Maumelle coming in right behind them. Maumelle has Isaac Warrior coming back at receiver to help them out. I just think the top 3.
Levi Warrior at quarterback.
Yeah, he's a good one. Yeah, and that's big for them. He ended up with 27 touchdown passes. I think that 3 spot is going to be back and forth with them in Jacksonville. It's going to be a tough one. After that, I basically have Greenbrier in the 5. I think Mills will take a little bit of a step back, losing Moody, losing their coach. There's a little transition there. I think Bologna is going to be a little better than people think. They bring a ton of production back defensively. Some of the guys are, pull it up here, Vaughn Froneberger had over 116 tackles last year. Ryan Deal had over 100, and Jeremy Andrews had 71. So you're looking at almost 300 tackles coming back right there between those 3 alone. I think Bologna might surprise a few people in the bottom of that conference. So I'll put them there, and then I'll close them out with I've got BB at the bottom and Mills in the 7th spot.
So my top 4 is Parkview, Greenbrier, and Jacksonville. And I will say my biggest question might be Greenbrier of that group there. Just the losses there when you lose a guy like Enoch Hassan. Right. I mean, that guy was phenomenal last year.
It won't shock me that they don't, stay up there passing a Maumelle or a Jacksonville. So I'm not trying to give them any discredit at all. I like them a lot.
Program
They've got
right now.
Some really good receivers back. Who's going to throw the ball to them? Got to figure that out. Got some good production coming back defensively. Lost just an absolute freak at running back, like you said, in Enoch Hassan. So we'll see how they kind of end up here. But I think it's a big-time battle between Jacksonville, Maumelle, and Greenbrier for that 3, 4, and 5 spot.
I was looking here. Sorry, I've got some stuff going on at home right now as well, so I've got things going on. I was looking at Parkview as a team that I wanted to touch on real quick. I got Bobby Boulding pulled up right here.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is unreal as a coach. Now he doesn't win it right every year.
Bro. How many states has he got now? 2?
He's got 3. He's got 3, but he's also got
appearances.
6 appearances in the state.
And we know he's won multiple as a defense coordinator as well. He's got 2 or 3 at Parkview as a defense coordinator.
Yeah. Anyway, I like my top 4 as Robinson, Greenbrier, Parkview, and Jacksonville. Bobby Boulding and at Parkview, and one of the reasons why I have a lot of faith in what Parkview is doing, him as a coach, when you look at his finishes, and I knew he was a good coach, by the way. He and Gus Malzahn are real close as far as wins go in the state. By the way, just a fun fact there. But when you look at the finishes that this guy's had throughout his career, he's won state 3 times, but he has made the final 6 other times.
Yeah, so 9.
Yeah, so he's been there 9 times. He's only missed the playoffs 1 time. And then he's appeared in the semifinals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Other than those state
Other
title
than
runs.
right, yeah.
So that means 14 times he's been in the semifinals
In
or
like
further.
22
that's
years
just as a head coach.
of head coaching,
Wow.
and then as defensive coordinator there, he won 3 straight.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Brad and him worked together very well. And Brad Bolding's one of the best in the state. But man, I'm going to tell you, Bobby he really helped that thing over the top. He really did.
100%.
Anyways, that's why I got a lot of faith in Parkview.
They're almost unbeatable when they're together.
For sure. I like Greenbrier in the 3 spot, but like I said, I've got a lot of questions there. And then the 4 spot, Jacksonville could be a team to jump up.
Right.
They could be a team to jump up and get up a little bit higher. So I'm interested to see what happens there. All right, let's move on into the 5A East here. And in the 5A East, as you were talking about, I think we have a jumble after Valley View. There's a lot of moving parts there after Valley View. Valley View brings back Tyler Heineman at the quarterback position, 1,250 yards, 22 touchdowns. Also, Carter Wallace, 1,500-yard rusher. That's a great, just a great combination right there to bring back.
And Levi Manning at receiver, 500 yards. So
right.
I mean, they're loaded in the skill spots, and their offense is set for sure.
The question mark is, to me, is who's going to finish second, and there are about 4 other teams that could do that. Nettleton, Harding Academy, Wynn, and Batesville. I like. Now I'm going to give you my top 4. And I'm going to give it to you, but I like Nettleton at the 2 spot, Harding Academy at the 3 spot, and Wynn at the 4 spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What makes this hard for me, the most thing that I was about to say most people are picking Nettleton, Harding Academy, and then it's either Batesville or Wynn after that. Most people. What's making it hard for me is Batesville. Batesville returns a ton of production. I mean, their running backs back, or one of them, Caleb Murray, 493 yards, 2 touchdowns last year. But they bring back 2 receivers, and Xavier Pierce had over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. Aaron Dale had over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then defensively, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top returning tacklers back. So that's pushing me to put Batesville possibly above Nettleton and Harding Academy. It's really tough for me. Harding Academy and Nettleton both don't return a whole lot of production from last year. This could be Batesville's year. We know they have pockets of when they're really good, and it's been fun to see. I think the state's better when Batesville's a better program. Years ago, 20 years ago now, they were really on a high. 15, 20 years ago, and they're starting to bring that back. They've done a great job up there. So I'm going to go Batesville on my 3. I'm going to give Nettleton the 2, and I'm going to say somehow Batesville is going to move past Harding Academy this year. So don't hate me, Harding Academy fans, but it's just a tough pick with all that production back for Batesville. So that's where I'm going to go. After that, who do we got? I know Wynn is one that I've kind of got right there. I'm going to go Wynn in the 5. Brooklyn, Paragould, and then Greene County Tech. And one thing I'll say about Greene County Tech is they haven't had a lot of success lately, but they return a really good running back in Ashton Addison. Had over 1,200 yards on the ground last year. I think he's going to help them out. I think they're going to give Brooklyn and Paragould a little bit of trouble. So, but that's my top 8.
All right, so there you go, the 5A East. I think we kind of agree on Valley View as the top dog, and then you just kind of look at the rest of them again. You can kind of throw them in a hat. You could pick them out and see what happens here.
I'm high on Valley View this year. They could, we'll talk sleepers later, but they're definitely going to be in that conversation for me.
In my opinion, this next conference that we're going to get to, the 5A South, I'm not sure that you have a unanimous champion in that 5A South. I think Camden Fairview, I don't have them at 1. I've got them at 2, but I think that's a team right there there to watch in that situation. They bring back the quarterback Brody Dowd. We saw him last year there against El Dorado,
Mhm.
2,142 yards in the air and 17 touchdowns. That was an interesting ball game because it was kind of a blowout, and then it got interesting toward the end. But at the end of the day, El Dorado was El Dorado. They were 6A. They kind of
Right.
imposed their will on them. I think there could be a little bit of a new energy there at Camden Fairview, and they're always dangerous. But right now, I've got Hot Springs in the one spot and in the 5A South. And I've got Lakeside in the three spot. I think, man, again, you could take those three right there. I
Mhm.
think you could put them in any order, and I
That's what
think
I'm
you
doing,
get
actually.
right. Yeah. And then at the fourth spot, I've got Magnolia
Yeah.
to make the playoffs there.
Yeah, I like Magnolia as well. Really like their head coach. He's done a great job down there. Yeah, I'm actually gonna pick Lakeside. Just because of the production they bring back. They got a really good receiver in Tyler Ullman. They've got a running back in read here, Peter Ullman, same guy. So they throw it to him as well. He's dual threat type guy. Throw it to him out of the backfield. He's a really good one. They bring back some good defenders, Quadrarius Jackson and Jonathan Rainey. Lakeside surprised some people last year, obviously going all the way to the end there
Yeah.
against Robinson. Um, I got Lakeside. I love Camden Fairview bringing back their quarterback. You talked about him, Brody Dow, 2,100 yards, 17 touchdowns last year. They also bring back a pretty good running back in Dayton Browning. We've interviewed their former head coach that's now at Maumelle multiple times,
Nick
and
Vaughn.
yeah, Nick Vaughn,
Hmm.
and he was very high on Browning as when he was moving up the ranks there over the last couple of years. Browning's a really good one. They also have Demarion Robinson at running back, so they're loaded there. 1,400 yards combined, 20 touchdowns between those two guys, and then they've got a receiver. Well, it's Dayton Browning. They throw the ball to him. He's kind of a slot guy for him. He kind of does a little bit of everything. He's one of those quicker than fast guys. You can't catch him in a phone booth. And then they bring back some production. So I'm going Lakeside, Camden, Fairview, Hot Springs, Magnolia is my top four. After that, it gets a little tough here. I think Pine Bluff actually could even steal a spot in the four.
Oh,
I really
100%.
like them. They bring back a good quarterback in, let me pull his name up here, Morrow. What is it? Jamar Morrow had 1,700 yards last year. They always got athletes. We know that. They're going to be tough to guard in space. Rashawn Reed's a really good receiver for them. Got some good defenders in Caden Poole. Caden Poole's a little bit of an underrated guy around the state. I think he's going to have a big year for Pine Bluff. Like I said, there's always a guy down there that you don't know much about that ends up being going D2 or D3 or maybe even D1, that you never hear about. So I'll go Pine Bluff. And then after that, it gets very muddy for me. I think Texarkana, Arkansas High, DeQueen, Whitehall will finish it out.
So, one of the things I have to say about Pine Bluff is that Pine Bluff is a wild card in all this. Coach Michael Williams is back.
Right.
Just 2 years ago with Pine Bluff, he went all the way to the semifinals in a 10-win season. Last year, they started out rough. I don't know what happened there, but he was put on administrative leave. He's now back in the full-time head coach once again, and so he is. He's in a good spot there, and Pine Bluff, they might be right back,
Yeah.
back to the top. When you look at Pine Bluff, as far as just a program, and this is over, so many hundreds of years or hundred years, over 100 years there. They've been a fantastic program. They've
Yeah.
won multiple state championships, and when you look at them as a program, they're the top program in that 5A
Yeah,
South.
and they're one of the top programs all time in total state championships. All that,
Oh, yes.
especially like
Right.
track. I think they run away with it for the most part. But Rayshawn Reed and Kyron Kolklager are two big time receivers for Morrow to throw to. So I would not be shocked at all if Pine Bluff finds a way to get into that top four, maybe top three. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're a little bit underrated this year coming in.
All right, let's move on to the 5A West here. And the 5A West is It's a very tough conference. For years, the 5A West was the best conference in 5A, bar none, hands down. Back in the day when you had Greenwood and Alma in the top there, every year it was
Oh yeah.
Greenwood and Alma battling for the top spot. Right now, Alma's not battling for that top spot, but I know that they're looking at Coach Jeremy Burns to kind of lift them up and get back into that playoff picture. But you've got the Greenwood Bulldogs
Yeah.
moving back in to the conference after, I guess, I think it's been a 14-year hiatus.
Yeah.
I think they've been in 6A since 2012, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even before that. But anyway, they've been in there in that close to 20 years range, and they're back into 5A. The last time I saw Greenwood in 5A, I was actually at Huntsville, and I watched them come in and were up 28-0 on Huntsville at the end of the first quarter, and they actually missed a field goal to go that would have made them 31-0 at the end of one. They put their third team quarterback in. I don't think they scored in the second quarter. Got to the third quarter, put their first team quarterback back in. They scored, and then I think they got a turnover or something like that. And within 2 minutes, they had scored two more touchdowns. And I believe the second touchdown was scored by the second team quarterback. So the Greenwood Army is a real deal there,
Yeah.
and they are the favorite, or at least in my opinion, the favorite to win state. But I will say this about them and with Robinson before I get back into the conference there.
Mhm.
When you're looking at Robinson, Parkview, the teams over the years that have given Greenwood the most trouble are the uber athletic teams.
Mhm.
Pine Bluff went to Greenwood, what would it have been, about 14, 15, somewhere in there. Well, I got them pulled up here. I believe, looking at it, they, in 15, I believe, with Bobby Boulding, by the way,
Right.
they went to Greenwood and they won at Greenwood in the semifinals. And there you go. It's right there. They sure did. I got it pulled up. 28-21 in that game.
Right.
So it's the teams that are so like, and when I say uber, I mean you got to be fantastically athletic to be able to
Right.
do this. But I'm talking about the very top tier. Those are the ones that kind of give Greenwood just the most trouble. Now, when I say trouble, let's make it relative, right? We're talking about Greenwood. We're talking about state
Yeah.
champions. I mean, they've won 8 of those since
Well,
20 or 2000. So
let's talk about this. So when Bobby first came over and joined Brad, well, I think it was the year before he joined. We were doing a lot of Parkview games that year on our stream, and we had Greenwood at War Memorial versus Parkview.
yes,
And in the regular season, Parkview had lost to him, couldn't get over that hump, and they did it that night. But if you remember, Greenwood was like 2 or 3 quarterbacks in their depth chart. They had all those injuries. I wasn't the kid that ended up going to Elkins, the stud.
yes, Dean.
Was yeah, Dizzy Dean. I think he was like a sophomore at the time, and then of course, they all knew about. Well, we were talking to the Greenwood guys before the game, and Kane Archer. We all knew he's like, I think he was an 8th grader then. He was coming up. Dean goes over to Elkins, of course, and has a fabulous career. Is he still at Missouri? What was it, like Missouri, Southwest Missouri
No,
State?
he had transferred to Arkansas Tech.
That's
He was
right.
there,
I
but I
forgot about
don't
that.
think I
Haven't
don't
heard
think he's
nothing.
there anymore.
Okay, but anyways, uh, Parkview was able to get the win that night, and we knew it was going to be a good game. But then later in the year, Greenwood got them back. They had their quarterback situation figured out. Greenwood was able to win, if I remember correctly, right? I believe that's what happened.
Yeah,
And then of course
actually, no. Parkview beat them that night, but then Greenwood
no,
turned around and won.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. But then Parkview caught fire. Greenwood, of course, ended up going to 6A pretty soon after that, and Parkview wins 3 in a row. So, I mean, that's just like you said. They really have struggled with uber athletic teams, and I shouldn't say they really have struggled. If they're going to ever get nipped, it's usually something like that. We know how good
right.
Shiloh was last year. Shiloh didn't have their star running back in the first game. They did in the playoff, the championship game, put 70 on Greenwood, which was unheard of. I know that Coach Gills had nightmares about that game ever since being the DC. But he steps into a lot of production coming back. I really am high on their receivers that come back, Braxton Canada and Braden Rennick. They're combined over 1,000 yards last year, 9 touchdowns. Defensively, Drew Dickinson, Briar Hackler, and Charlie Hudnall. Hudnall's a good one. Gotta get this thing cleared up. They're going to be just fine. I've got Greenwood in the one. I've got Harrison. I love Coach Pascal, Van Pascal going up there, taking over. He's got a ton of production coming back. Two big time running backs in Gavin Jones and Killian Eddings. They together over 1,000 yards, 12, about 11, 1,200. 12 touchdowns. They bring back a receiver in Braden Bryant, 421 yards, 2 touchdowns, and several good tacklers coming back in Bryce Jones, Aspen Stevens, and Denver Wool. A lot of production coming back there. And Sky Lee, another one. He was actually their returning leading tackler at 91 last year. I think Harrison's going to have a great chance to possibly get past Morrilton and Farmington and get that 2 spot. I've got Farmington at the 3. Farmington lost a lot, really good quarterback. They got J.J. Moore back at receiver, who's going to throw it to him. Coach Tice, they're going to have to figure that out. So I've got them at the 3. I've got Morrilton and Alma and Pea Ridge. I feel like is going to be a lot better this year than people think. Hudson White back at quarterback. He's a really good one. I'm really high on Alma. We talked to Coach Burns and interviewed them, talked to a bunch of their players. They've got a lot of confidence. I think Alma is he's bringing back the small things, like the painting the Airedale Pauls and the community stuff and kind of building the culture to where he wants it and kind of bringing back those old traditions. Alma was such a powerhouse. You talked about that a little bit with Greenwood and Alma in the 90s and the Brooks Coatneys and the Adam Dailies and all that. And speaking of Coatney, Greenwood has a Coatney on the team, Brooks' son. So I like Alma. I've got Farmington at the 3, Morrilton at the 4, Alma on their heels at the 5, and Pea Ridge right there in the mix with them. Dardanelle has some guys that they're going to be a lot better situated this time going up to 5A from when they were about 3 or 4 years ago. I still think it's just too tough of a conference for them to get into the playoffs. There's a chance they could surprise. It's going to come down to the Pea Ridge and Alma and Morrilton games for Dardanelle. Right. I like Chatton he's like a slot guy. They've got Kirsch, just a stud running back, big dude, about almost 200 pounds now. His dad was all Gulf South Conference defensive player of the year.
The freak.
Yeah. Played softball with him for years.
They used to call him the freak. I'm not even lying.
Oh, he is. And that dude at 35 could run a 4.6 at 255 pounds. Maybe a 4.5. I'm not joking because most of the time he just just not even going full speed, and he's looking like a 4.6, 4.7, and he's going 90%, 80%. But his son CJ's cut out of that mode a little bit. They've got some pieces. They got 2 stud linebackers, big time production. One of them is going to be their quarterback this year. I think they're going to try to Creed Vega a little bit with them, run that spread, kind of a power spread running game. He's not near as big. We'll see how he can hold up going both ways. Creed was 6'2", 220. He's able to absorb some of that, and we'll see how that works out for him. And of course, Clarksville, we've got at the very end. It's just been a tough sledding for them. Their coach, what's his name?
Mitchell Powers.
He's a good guy. I mean, he says the right things. I think he knows what he's doing. It's just a tough conference for them. They're a little undersized. Obviously, one of the smaller teams in 5A. We'll see if they can make some strides this year and steal some wins in non-conference and maybe get a conference win.
All right. So that is our breakdown there. I've got Greenwood, Farmington, Harrison, Morrilton. You've got Greenwood,
Harrison, Farmington, Morrilton. Yeah. And then it's really Morrilton, Alma, Pea Ridge. It's really tough on that. I think Morrilton probably gets it, and then Alma and Pea Ridge fighting out for the 5 spot and hoping to get in that 4 spot.
Right. And in the 5A, as far as championship goes,
Dardanelle's right there with them too.
Right.
Sorry.
I like Greenwood to win it all.
Really?
So I was just looking at Greenwood, number 1.
Good pick. I mean,
2000 was their first state championship. They went to the state finals in 1996 for the first time. They had very little success before that time. Right. Ronnie Peacock came in and did well. I said 8 state championships, right? I said 8. They have 13 since 2000.
Yeah, I knew it was crazy like that.
13 state championships since 2000. They have another 1, 2, 3. So they're 13-3 in the state finals.
I've been on record saying this over the years, and it sounds a little funny maybe if you don't really look at it, but it's one of those conversations when people are talking about, football programs and the town and how some towns, they're trying to get a millage for a new indoor facility, things like that. And a lot of times it gets voted down.
Right.
And I'm like, I 100% believe Greenwood as a town. I know it's not the main thing, but I know the football program being so good, I think has helped the population of that town
Yeah.
actually grow. I
Yeah.
mean, I really believe that. And I know we're in the school choice world now, but before that, that town has actually blown up a lot over the last 20, 25 years, and the football program is a big part of it, actually.
Well, and they start them young. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about
Pit
first
bulls,
grade.
I think they call them.
Yes, pit bulls, and they're in the first grade, and they're being taught the system. And not only they being taught the system, but they also have like quarterback school, different things of that nature. I mean, they
It,
are on top of
it's
it.
like a Texas top culture
Yeah.
there, or like, some kind of South Florida, just crazy,
Right.
IGA type thing almost.
Well, they have.
How's a pit bull become an English bulldog? How's that work out?
I don't know. I don't know. You probably got some sort of joke for it, right? Though. Anyway, Greenwood, and of course, again, depending on how the
It's
brackets
a
work
dumb and
out.
dumber thing.
Uh,
It's coming to mind.
uh, depending on how the brackets work out, Greenwood versus Robinson, Parkview, possibility in that. You know, who else could you see? I mean, Valley View is another one. I think is a
They're a
real
sleeper for me.
Farmington, maybe.
Um, I'm probably going to go Green. I really like Robinson's quarterback, Simpson. I'm gonna go Greenwood, Robinson after that. And then like you're talking our sleepers, Parkview's right there on the hills. Jacksonville could surprise. Valley View, I definitely. I think they're a top four team this year. I know we have them at five. Um, no, we have them at we have them at five. I think they might move ahead of Greenbrier a little bit. We'll see. Greenbrier's just got a lot of question marks, losing that production in Hassan. But yeah, those are the teams. And then the 5A South. I mean, any of those teams, Lakeside, Camden, Fairview, Hot Springs, and even Pine Bluff and Magnolia could emerge out of there, and they're going to be super tough to beat in the playoffs.
It was a few years ago that South was the strength
Oh yeah,
of 5A. There, I mean, I know Camden Fairview was in the semifinals along with Parkview. Parkview was in the
Benton
South at
was in
that
there at the
time.
end, and El
Yeah,
Dorado's been in and out of there.
yeah. Anyway, well, I think that is going to conclude us here for the 5A breakdown. We appreciate you joining us right here on our class breakout. I'm sorry, class breakdowns. I apologize, and our previews and our ranking release and all these wonderful things that we do. We've got to go. We appreciate you joining us here on the Arkansas Sports Network on our class previews, and we will see you soon.